Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of Open Discourse. Couple of things real quick. We got the banner up. I'm wearing a t-shirt. It's getting...
I should be wearing a t-shirt.
it's getting a lot more legit here on Open Discourse. I want to say thank you to Cody again for the equipment donation.
Yes.
It's really helped us out to become more legit. Our last episode was about video games, and Dylan and I just spent the past few hours streaming that. So
Yeah,
if
that was
you're
fun.
interested in that, you guys can check that out too. It's like our side hobby.
Yep.
Today we're going to be talking about rape culture, and we've got return guest Cali Witte. So, I don't know, we don't need to, do we redo our background?
You can
or?
I don't
Go
know.
back and listen to episode
Go back to
2
episode
if you want to
2,
learn
yeah.
more about me.
Nice plug, Callie. That was a good one. What?
Rape culture. How do we
Okay.
want to go about this? Do you want to start with the
Definition,
poll?
maybe?
Well,
we could define it
let's-
first or do the poll.
let's do the poll first, I think. So, I'm just going to start off and say that maybe my poll question could have been worded better. I was kind of scrambling to get it out there and couldn't think of how I wanted to say it. But I said, do you think America has a problem with rape culture? And so far, 82% have said yes, 18% has said no. Dylan, we were kind of talking. What that meant was, does America have a rape culture? I guess is what the question should have been.
Yeah.
Might I point out that all 18% of no were men. Next.
Really?
Yes, they were.
They were.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I said no. Dylan, I mean, what would you say if you were to vote?
See, I reread the question and I was like, now I would say yes, because
Does
I mean,
America
it's still
have a rape
okay.
culture?
So it's still a problem, but I don't know. I think it's more of a problem in different parts of the world than it is here. But I would still say yes, we do have a problem with it.
Okay.
You can't compare it to the rest. I mean, it's a yes or no question, though.
I mean, the answer is yes. I mean, the answer is yes. There's still an issue, obviously. I mean, it still happens. So.
I also said yes, hardcore. That's why I'm here.
Hardcore.
Hardcore.
Yeah,
Yes.
you selected this topic out of a lineup pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So you said, where do we start? Definition. What is your definition, Callie, of rape culture?
I looked up a definition, actually. I did a little research for this one. The definition I found...
And that you
somewhere.
align your beliefs with. So you like that definition of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where it went. But basically
I have one too. Do you want me to read mine?
Sure.
The one I found, which I wonder if we both like the same one, is a society or environment whose prevailing social attitudes have the effect of normalizing or
Yes.
struggle with this word. Trivializing.
Trivializing?
I don't know what I
Almost
said.
got it.
Which means making small or making light of sexual assault and abuse. Which maybe I do disagree with that definition because rape and sexual assault are not the same thing. I don't think.
No, they're not. But still, I mean, rape culture is not, I mean, it's encompassing, sexual assault, all of that, as a culture that we promote, I guess.
So what points of evidence, Callie, would you point to of this is proof of America's rape culture?
Which case do you want me to bring up about people doing 3 months in jail or a $400 fine for rape?
So you're saying that our justice system's punishment for these crimes is not fitting at all?
No,
not
not
even
even
close.
close.
Right. Yeah. Which I agree. I don't think it is either. I mean, the one kid, I can never remember his
Brock
name.
Turner kid.
Yes, that one.
Sir,
I was
here,
like-
I have facts on that too.
I was like, how is it possible that you can have two witnesses who see a crime take place and it's so clear cut? I haven't read into the case, so I'm not 100% positive of the
I
details.
mean, Callie, if you have facts, lay them on us.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, what happened was he was assaulting. I don't even know that he was actually raping her, but he was assaulting a passed out girl
Right.
behind a dumpster, and two guys saw and chased him off. Basically,
Was the assault penetration?
yeah,
or...
I think it.
Oh, was it?
I think it was
See, I don't know.
penetration.
So
but
that would be
not-
rape by definition.
Well, no, I'm I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be P to V to be rape. I
Okay.
think penetrating is the rape.
Okay,
part
well
of rape.
then it was rape.
Okay.
Wow.
And his punishment for the crime, the jury unanimously
There
Man,
you go.
these words.
convicted him guilty, and his punishment was 6 months in jail. Okay, he only served 3 of those months. He has to register as a sex offender and 3 years of probation.
Wow.
So there's
So-
people serving time right now for drug charges for 5 years
Right.
when this guy raped somebody and served 3 months.
Do you know, are there any, like, I guess maybe there's not, but are there any, like, definite guidelines of, like, one rape equals
there's a 3-year
this?
minimum.
3-year minimum?
Mm-hmm.
So how did he get months anyways?
Because
He's
the
a
judge
juvenile?
was like, no, he wasn't a juvenile.
Oh.
He was he's a college-aged kid.
He was like 19 or 20.
So you just said that there was a minimum of 3 and he somehow got less than that.
Yeah, because the judge gave him less than that for, I don't know the exact legal...
So did they like drop the charge from like a certain one to a little bit lower maybe?
I don't know exactly
Or-
how it happened. I just know that he ended up only getting sentenced with 6 months when there's a 3-year minimum in the state
Wow.
that he was
Do
in.
you know, in this particular case, was there any doubt of the, like, rape? Like,
He claimed that she gave consent before she passed out. But okay, even if you were full on consensual and somebody passes out, you stop. Or when people are like, also, when people are coming up to you, you shouldn't, like, your first instinct shouldn't be to run away if you were doing something right.
Right.
True. No, I agree with you in that. And I would agree that the punishment would need to be more, but I don't think that particular instance would be a sign that anyone was approving. I think that's just poorly handled.
Okay, his dad said that his punishment was a steep price to pay for 20 minutes of action.
And didn't they also say that he had a bright future?
Yes,
And,
because
like,
he was
they-
a swimmer.
Yeah, they like were like, yeah, that's just crazy. Like,
So because the kid was an athlete,
Yeah,
he got a
they
pass,
just-
I guess.
Yeah. Hmm.
There's that, and then there was another one that was more recent. His name was Jacob Anderson, and his punishment was a $400 fine and counseling.
for
and
what?
the charge is rape, or like
For
what
what
is
crime?
the charge?
I don't know if it was sexual assault or rape, but either way.
Yeah.
But not
$400
either way,
is like-
because sexual assault, a dick pic is sexual assault. A sexual assault is just any unwanted sexual
I'll have to
anything.
look at
Interaction.
exactly
grab
what it
ass
was.
is sexual assault. And that, I think grab ass is $400 fine worthy. You smack some girl's butt on the bus, and you get caught on camera or whatever, and they charge you press charges like $400 fine. I don't know. I think that's appropriate.
I don't know if they're broken up into like different crimes though, or are they really all under like one term?
I'm sure it's based, like, I'm sure it's...
There's like
based
class A,
on-
class B, or
I
like
would
or
guess
something
so.
different.
I still just don't think that we live in a society where, like, there's people who are like, yeah, I'm cool with rape, or rape's not a big deal. Like, I think most people, if confronted with a
Well, yeah, if
rape,
confronted with it.
no, I'm saying like if no one says, hey, I just raped someone, and like people give them high fives. It's like,
We're saying that like we don't think our culture promotes.
What about the
People
president we
committing
just
rape.
elected that says, okay, we're going to grab him by the pussy?
I don't think
He's not gonna. I feel like you're gonna say they're not directly related, right? I mean, those two things are not exactly the same.
I just as
Half of
much
our
as
nation
as
voted
much
for
as
him.
you would want the president of the United States to be a stand-in for the nation and their attitudes, I think if you look at his approval rating now, what is it? It's like it's less than 50.
Yeah.
So literally,
People still voted for him, though.
right. And there's some people who are idiots and think that sexual assault's okay, but
So do you think that half of the people that voted for him hold that view, though? I mean,
no, I think there's people.
So that's because we let it go because it's normalized in this country that it's fine. Also, back to the Jacob Anderson thing, he was accused of rape, actual rape, I guess.
Wow.
So
Charged or accused?
it just says accused. I didn't like.
But I mean, if
dive
he was
into that.
convicted of a crime and served out a punishment, they convicted him of something.
Here's the thing that bothers me is, so when I was like doing my own research on this a little bit, I just typed in rape culture and like wanted to see what would pop up. One of the first things was a Huffington Post article called "A Gentleman's Guide to Rape Culture." First sentence: if you are a man, you are a part of rape culture. I know that sounds
Okay,
rough,
That's stupid. But
like I think a lot of people like hold to that view that think that there's a problem with rape culture, think that all men by mean men are perpetrating, adding to rape culture, and I think that's completely outlandish.
I disagree with that as well. That's an extreme view to hold.
Yeah, I feel like that's a small group of people that think that way. But
Well, here's what's said. They bring up the fact that Men never have to be afraid, and women are always in fear of their safety. And that is
Okay.
how
Have you ever been scared to like pump gas at night?
I mean I have. Dylan, have you? Have you ever been in a rough
I
part of town?
mean, I've been like
Not
on a
really.
road trip by myself, and
A
I was
rough
like,
part of
"Oh,
town.
like, I don't. But I mean, yeah.
You're scared in the middle of a Moto Mart at midnight. You're
And
scared to
me?
pump gas every time.
Absolutely, I've had people walk up to me before.
I think that women have to be on like a higher alert at all times. You know what I mean?
Because
Like,
why though?
well,
I don't think that's rape culture. I think that's most men are stronger than most females, and that's just biologically. A man is going to be more muscular because
We're not scared that you're gonna beat us up though. That's not.
But
that's not
the reason
what
you're
fear is.
see, then I think some of that fear. If you think every man is going to sexually assault you, then I don't know. I don't.
do you think that their fear is like almost doesn't equal the amount of rape that takes place? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you just never know.
If you did
You
that
always
with
have to
any
be on
other
high
thing, but you do.
What else though?
Are you saying like the same like
You're more
statistic
likely
as
to-
like you getting murdered
Yeah,
is about the
like,
same as you getting raped? So you can't go
probably higher.
walking around
It's
the
probably
world
higher.
thinking you're gonna get murdered every day.
Yeah,
And be
or
afraid of it?
robbed even. Like
Yeah.
the likelihood of you getting robbed is probably higher than you getting raped, and women and men probably equally don't
Walk around constantly.
fearing robbery.
Maybe it's just because of the nature of the crime. You know what I mean? The severity of it that it makes you be more afraid of it.
I would
I'd
hold
rather get murdered than
Right.
get raped.
That's what I'm saying.
politically.
You'd rather get your phone stolen than
I don't know. I would hold that politically, people are pushing rape culture to achieve other political agendas. Like feminists would push this idea of rape culture.
Would you not consider yourself a feminist?
It depends on your definition
Okay,
of
so
feminism.
the definition of feminism is equality between men and women.
Yes,
so in
that
that
is the
sense,
definition of feminism.
in that sense, yes, I would say I agree with it, but I wouldn't call myself one. I wouldn't say
Well, I think
like
most
I'm a feminist,
feminists, that's
but I'm
not what they're
for
fighting for.
equality. Yeah, like I'm for equality for
True-
men and
I
women.
mean, true feminists, that's what they're fighting for.
If that's what they're fighting for, then
there's
yes.
extremes on in everything, and the media loves to portray the extreme
Right.
of everything.
And I feel like extreme feminists and extreme leftists like to portray this rape culture as happening like by the thousands,
more often.
especially like on college campuses.
It is though. People just don't report it because nobody believes you.
Okay, so that's something I want to talk about.
Okay.
In literally every other legal thing in America, you are innocent until proven guilty, but I feel like the cultural attitude is shifting towards in the matter of rape, you're guilty until proven innocent. And like, is that
Because as soon as a charge is brought against you, like that's gonna have negative effects. I mean, on your life. Whether
regardless
if
of
you
the
didn't-
results?
if you
yeah.
didn't do it,
Yeah, but do you know
You're
what the percentage of falsely accused rapes is?
I don't. And I'd be curious to
It's
hear the
like
statistics
I'm pretty sure it's less than 2%. It's very,
of
very
like the
low.
annual rape accusations are proven to be 100% completely false. Is that?
Yeah, it's
what you're
like
saying?
less than 2% of false accusations.
Oh, okay.
Of people
Less.
that,
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So very, very low chance that happens. And all rape cases are he said, she said, unless you have evidence like rape kits. But we care so much about those that they're super backlogged and don't get processed, or they get thrown away. There was a case where, I don't remember where it was at, but the cops were running out of space in their evidence room, so they just threw a bunch of them away before
Wow.
there's like a certain amount of time you're supposed to hold on to stuff like that. They just threw them away.
I don't know.
What do you think, Nick? Go ahead.
I just don't think that this like. It depends on what the argument is. If the argument is, "Are you for rape?" then like obviously no, I'm not. But if
Oh,
the
no,
if
no
the
one
if the
thinks that you
question
are.
is, do you think that America as a whole is encouraging rape to the point that people are, I don't know.
Likely to rape because of society's influence. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then no, I don't.
I don't think so either. Like I don't think it's made to look I can't even say that word.
Glamorously.
Yeah, glamorous in like our.
I mean,
I don't know.
our judicial system, though, doesn't think that it's that big of a deal. It's in all of our
I think.
music. People talk about
well, I was gonna
it.
say I do think culturally America has a problem with sexuality. I think. I don't know.
So do you think that
The same
sexuality is not related to the rape culture, or no? Do you
don't-
think they're not
I feel
related? They're
like-
two different things.
I feel like when you go back to the heart of rape culture, which is that it's normalized. I don't know what I think.
Right, so
I'm
It's a
music-
tough
It's a toss
subject.
up.
songs that people listen to on an everyday basis that our 13-year-olds are listening to on an everyday basis. talks about stuff like that, and makes it.
They talk about
Like objectifying women?
is being sexually promiscuous and being raped the same thing? See,
No.
and this is where you get into victim blaming and stuff like that too.
Right. That's a huge issue. That's.
I don't. So there's a weird sound in this apartment complex happening right now, but I don't think you're gonna hear it on
Really?
the YouTube video. Yeah,
Oh,
I
we'll have
think.
to check
Well, they
that.
didn't hear the train in the live feed.
Really?
Yeah.
That's true. I didn't hear the train when I was listening.
So I don't know.
Anyway, the victim blaming thing, we do. It was, what were you wearing? Did you have too much to drink? Were you not paying attention to your surroundings? When we should be teaching boys not to rape, or anybody not to rape people. Or a quote from someone we all know. I'm not going to say who it is, but has said that she doesn't think that her boys should have to have the self-control at the age that they're at. That, like, girls should be responsible, like dress code, girls should be responsible for covering up their shoulders because their boys are too young to have the self-control to get distracted. And I think that there's more than just one person like that in the world that teaches.
I feel like
their
I have
kids
a third party view on that. I would say the boy needs to be respectful, but the girl also needs to be modest. You can't.
A spaghetti strap, though, is too much.
No, I wouldn't necessarily say that the spaghetti strap is too much, but I've seen. That was weird.
No, it's okay.
I've seen female genitalia on college campuses from how they're dressed. It's not me like, wow, I just attacked the mic. It's not me like searching out their genitalia. Like you see, this girl walking wearing this particular clothes, and you can see body parts.
Okay,
our
but that
boobs.
doesn't mean that anyone gets to rape her.
No,
Even if I was walking around naked, nobody gets to rape me, then we don't.
but we teach people like lock your car door, or like I don't understand why with rape there's this aspect of you have no responsibility as the victim. If your house is broken into and all your windows were open in the middle of the night and your door was unlocked and you have a security system but you had it turned
It
off.
doesn't matter. Should you have broken into my house? No.
No, but you're at some degree not to blame, but you could have had a part in avoiding that, or at
What
least
if all my windows were locked and someone threw a rock through it and got in and stole all my stuff?
then at least you did your part. Like, do your part. Is all I'm saying.
So here's the thing with this situation. Like, I don't think that anything that you do should make you like be more likely to be raped. So I feel like you should be able to wear whatever you want, or you should be able to dress. You should be able to look however you want.
See, I'm not even talking about dress. I'm talking about. I don't think it should be like considered you being a sexist if you tell a girl like, be careful of what you order at the bar. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, why is that wrong? To tell a girl, don't accept drinks
Well,
that
I
are
shouldn't
bought
have
for
to
you.
tell you. I don't have to tell you that.
I would. You don't have to. You could tell anyone. I would appreciate that tip. Hey, don't accept drinks from strangers because people like to roofie people. It's not.
It's not people like to roofie people, though. It's
See, but
way
men
more
get
often than
get
not.
raped too, and people don't talk about that.
But it's
Oh,
not.
When they
the
talk about-
same
absolutely do.
rate,
It's not the same ratio at all.
and
Not
it's
even
also
close.
by men
Right.
most of the time. So
I don't know. I just
Also-
feel like
I mean, I
when
don't
when rape culture gets talked about, it's always talked about in this man versus woman.
well, that's because it's so slighted one way. That's why we always skew it that way. I mean, I know that there's like a small percentage that go the other way,
Even
but
so, even the other way, you shouldn't have to tell anybody not to watch their drink because people shouldn't be roofing people in the first
People
place.
shouldn't be breaking into homes either, but you tell people lock your doors, lock your windows. I don't know. Get a security system. Putting up a fake camera
Okay.
in front of your door
so
can defer a crime.
here's one thing I'll say. I don't think
But
that
do you ever blame the person who left their door unlocked, or do you blame the person who?
you
stole
don't.
their
I think
laptop?
what he's saying is he isn't blaming them, but he's saying there's things that they could have done to maybe prevent it from happening.
Yeah, if the difference between
Sure,
a
but
girl
what
getting
if
raped
you-
is accepting
okay.
drinks from strangers at a bar and not,
What if
why
you
would
lock?
you
You
not?
leave your house 364 days a year, and you lock your door and you turn your security system on. But one day you messed up. You forgot. Your house gets broken into. Are you still blaming that person that hard?
I'm never blaming. It's never a blame thing. I'm just saying it's not wrong to tell people to do things that are going to defer crime. I don't think.
So here's my
I just
opinion.
think the focus is too heavy on.
To
Sorry.
Dylan,
Sorry.
here you go. It's Dylan's turn. You can talk.
So like I feel like whenever they go out to a bar, I don't think how they're dressed should determine anything like that, but it's like the way you choose to walk home, like that's important, and that's just an education thing. It's like you got to be safe. You shouldn't put yourself in bad situations, but like I don't think the way you're dressed is going to change how somebody reacts to you. And I'm not blaming that person. I'm just saying that it might not have happened if you might have, but I think that it stems from education for like for men. Whenever boys are raised, it's like we're not educating them teaching them like how to treat a woman, so they don't know, and then they grow up disrespecting women, and I think it escalates to a point where
that's exactly
that
it.
happens.
The emphasis is
Yeah.
on the wrong thing. We should be
Yeah.
teaching our kids and whoever
We should be
else.
educating both sexes
Whoever
about
else,
it,
yeah. Yeah.
And I just don't think it gets talked about enough. Like whenever you have the sex talk, it's not like I don't think most parents would have a talk with you about rape or like what
Or even
is
consent.
crossing a line.
How
Yeah.
often is consent a thing more
I don't-
than it's just like this is what it is?
Yeah, do parents ever talk to their kids about consent whenever
They should.
they should, but I don't think it probably gets brought up too often.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you too. I think we found common ground. I don't know. It's one thing I struggle with is like societies, like you talked about, like the music and like what you see in films, and I just feel like that's a bigger issue than people honestly like thinking that rape is okay or normalized. People just don't have modesty
That
and
is normalizing
self-respect.
it in itself, though.
Okay, but this like the rap songs aren't like I forced my way onto this woman and people are singing that. It's like I got a big booty hoe and she's consensually twerking on me.
There are songs out there like that, though. I would have to look up exact examples, but there are.
I feel like the vast majority though is just men treating women as sexual objects,
Yeah.
more so than like wanting to rape them, or it's usually promiscuous women wearing spaghetti straps and mini skirts dancing on these sex horny men. Is like what the song is typically about.
Right.
It's not men not men saying that we should be allowed to rape whoever we want and we need pats on the backs when we do.
For when we do. You mean
Like if like we should be raping and we should be congratulated when we rape. I don't think that anyone thinks that.
No, but when things are subconsciously floating around, all of that shapes who you are as a person and what you believe is okay. When you have a president that is constantly saying terrible things, you think that, oh, okay, that's not that big of a deal.
So do you think there are some boys that are maybe like around the ages of like 12, 13 who are seeing the things that the president's saying and they're taking it to heart and they're like, oh, I can treat girls like that if I want to because the president does?
Yeah,
Do you think that
absolutely.
happens?
Of course, especially if they have parents in the household that don't correct that behavior or say anything about it.
See, but Trump is never shown in a positive light of saying that. In every no
It
media
doesn't matter.
coverage
He's still
has.
the president of the United States.
Okay, he's just a man though. He's not.
And it's defended all the
Society's-
time. It was locker room talk. It's no big deal. It's still defended.
I think what she's saying is that the majority of America, well, not actually the majority, because he didn't win the majority.
He did not win the majority.
He didn't, right? Yeah, she did. So, whatever. A large chunk of the United States picked a person that has views that are not good, that are not great views.
I don't think
about
many
women.
people knew. Maybe I'm wrong, but that light of him was not shown until after he was like. Did that clip come out during the election or after he was president?
Before. Yeah, during
It
the
came out
election,
during
the
yeah.
campaign.
I don't know.
And I mean, people actually did not vote him in. That's the way our electoral college
When
works.
you look at the president is hard to look at because when you look at that particular election, like yeah, we have this guy saying things like that,
I
but we had
agree
that
with that,
woman as well. So yeah, they can disagree with Trump and still wanted to vote for that over Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a hard example.
Yep.
I want to know, Callie, what you think about like should every woman be believed if she said she was raped? Like without a doubt, like
Okay.
a woman says I've been raped, should you believe her?
I don't love that phrase because it's not like you should be gung ho, like not. I don't know. That takes it too far. I think if you're like, yes, I believe you, let's do that. But the first question you ask shouldn't be, well, are you sure? What were you wearing? Are you sure you didn't ask for it? Something like that. I think that that's what the believe women mantra is shooting towards, because the first questions you're asked is not, are you okay? It's, what were you wearing? Something like that.
So what about a case like Kavanaugh? And I don't know as many details as I wish I did know to talk about it, but I'm going to bring it up anyways. Because what I do know is he was about to make a political career move, jump to a higher position, and then that's when this allegation got brought against him. And it was an allegation from like 30 plus years ago, what like in
It
that
was
case,
multiple people, wasn't it?
I think it started off
just
as
the
one,
one
and then that's when
case-
the Me Too thing happened. I don't know. I thought
Did
it
it
The
stem
Me Too
from
thing
that?
happened before that.
but I think it started with one woman, and
You're
then
saying people-
then a
right.
group of
Other
women
people
were like,
stepped
"Me too,
forward.
same guy."
Yeah.
Just like with Donald Trump, I mean, there was like one woman came out and was like, "He paid me off to, I don't know,
Do whatever. Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, 20 other actresses had
Oh,
that
you mean
same.
the Harvey Weinstein thing? Is that what you're talking about?
No, like literally Donald Trump, like there's been a woman that was sexually assaulted by him or raped by him or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and she was paid off to not say anything about it, but now she is saying something about it, and then
Because
So
they're
did these
finally
10 other-
feeling like they can. When somebody that's so much more powerful than you does something like that, there's almost like nothing you can do.
But what do you think
because
about a
nobody
woman
believes
who
you or-
brings it up right before like a career move? Like,
Well-
what is you as a woman? What is your perception of a woman
I
like
think
that?
that maybe, I mean, I'm not saying that every single person is telling the truth. There could be people lying, but the reason that people don't say stuff right off the bat is because it's emotional. It's horrible to go through. You have to go back through and relive it and relive it and relive it when all you're trying to do is forget about it. And then they wanted to stop somebody from holding that much power, so they're like, I guess I have to step up at this point. So it's not that they are trying to attack him because of his career. It's that they felt like now's the time. And they probably felt like, oh, maybe people will actually believe me now that all of this is going on and I can actually state my case without being told to shut up.
Like I said, I wish I knew more details about that case, but I feel like in this case, even with as little as I do know, I feel like that's exactly what this was, that it was brought up to hinder him from moving on in his career at this point.
But if he really did do that, then he should be hindered from holding even higher office, which he wasn't. He was confirmed anyway. But the way, I don't know if you watched any of his Senate hearing, but the way he was dodging questions, he
was like cocky,
I'm not
right?
a juror or anything, but he had to have done it. I mean, he was like, well, if you, I don't know, he was very dodgy, wouldn't actually answer any of the questions. There was like a 2.5 minute clip of this one person asking him the same question over and over again because he wouldn't really answer it. So why do you feel the need to do that if you didn't do anything wrong?
I feel like as a political person, he's probably told, like if someone who was accused and who actually didn't do it, they're probably told to still dodge questions because anything can be used. They're not going to tell them to go out and be like, I don't know, like say things word for word. They're going to say, don't like, everything can be used against you, so
Yeah, but the
say
answer
as
to
little
the
as
question could
possible.
have just been no. I did not.
I don't know. A lot of politicians, regardless of whether or not they're rapists, are pretty slimy. So he might not be a rapist, but he still might be slimy. I don't know. I just think that women are doing a disservice by waiting 30 plus years to say anything and then bringing it up at that moment like that. Mm-hmm. I think that only did worse for women everywhere.
I agree, but think about where we were 30 years ago. Nobody probably would have ever believed them in the first place. That happens all the time. And even if they would have, like I said before, just the emotional. A lot of people, after that happens to them, don't even go to the hospital. They don't do anything. They just want to forget about it. And then all your evidence is gone. So the moment you take a shower after that happens, you have no evidence. You can't go to the doctor and get a rape kit done.
Right.
And that's the only proof that you have.
That's not true.
Okay.
That can't be true.
I mean, 24 hours after it happened?
I'm pretty sure, like, when you're just talking to, like, consenting individuals about, like, sex education, that the male sperm can live inside of a woman for, like, 72 hours after ejaculation.
Okay.
But
okay. Say
you
it was
don't know.
a week later.
I was
then.
gonna say, but then you don't know if there's like enough to have a sample and to ID somebody. I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I've heard multiple people tell stories of them literally taking a shower, and a lot of the evidence is gone. I guess I don't know if it's 100% of it or not. But.
See, but you don't even need like DNA. There's literally like vaginal wall trauma in a rape.
Okay, but prove that it was that person.
It is a hard thing to prove, and I think that that's unfortunate. But I think women are disservicing women everywhere by not. I understand, like I don't know what it feels like or anything, and I'm sure it's emotional. But I just feel like you have to. It would have have to have a better effect if women were more forthcoming about it immediately.
Would it? Yes.
Yeah.
But that's a decision that every person has to make for themselves.
Well, if there is a rape culture, I feel like the women who wait 30 plus years and then attack people as they're moving up, they're adding to the rape culture.
Is it attacking though? If they did it, I wouldn't call that an attack if they're saying something that is true.
Okay, I just want to bring something up
Go
because I'm
ahead.
curious. Is there a statute of limitations on rape? I'm just curious. I have no idea.
Remember.
And
We should look.
we really should check because I'm curious to see how long or if there is a statute of limitations.
I want to say that the only things that don't have a
Is
statute of-
murder
Yeah.
murder for sure, but
I feel like it would have to be a really long one for them to even consider Kavanaugh's case because I'm pretty sure it was 30 years ago.
Okay, the thing with Kavanaugh too is that it was not an actual judicial hearing. It was just like a Senate hearing. So it wasn't like actual law. And it looks like there is. Because the first article that comes up is, these are the statutes of limitations on rape in all 50 states.
see what Missouri's is. I'm
There
just
you
curious.
go.
Oh, okay. A lot of them are no statute of limitations.
Oh, okay.
Arkansas, 6 years for first degree, 3 years for second, third, and fourth degree. So I guess it just depends on where you're
Oh
at.
my gosh.
10 years, 5 years, 15 years.
I feel like it should be way higher, but it should be.
Some of them.
But
should
see,
be
here's the thing: it's
standard,
hard.
right?
We
I
just
mean, or
talked
should
about how
there
it's
even be
hard.
one?
How it's hard to prove a week later.
Right.
How
That's
are you going to
true.
bring up cases 10, 15 years ago? You're not. You
Exactly.
can't. There's no way.
You
Unless you
can,
had like
but-
video evidence or something of it happening.
Yeah.
But if you did, I feel like you would have
can,
made a
but it's
case a long time
difficult
ago.
to do. Even if you do it right when it happens, it's difficult to do. And then another reason people don't bring it up is back to the thing we were talking about in the beginning. So, say I got raped and then I brought it to the courts and then my rapist gets 3 months in jail.
Yeah.
Is that worth reliving my trauma for 6 months to a year to 18 months, however long the trial gets drug out? And then
The person you're afraid of is free.
yeah.
And you don't know where they are. You have to live in constant fear.
So a lot of people don't want to go through it just for that. They don't even, if it was worse punishment, if they knew they were going to spend the next 10, 20, however long of their life put behind bars and that they were going to be safe from that person, then maybe it would be worth it. But
So I feel
a
like
lot of people don't feel that it is.
the thing we've gotten out of this so far is that we need to do two things: educate our youth, both the men and the women, about rape culture, and then stricter punishment for actual rape.
And I feel like the stricter punishment thing goes for more than just rape. I mean, our entire judicial system is a mess. when it
It's
comes
whack.
to everything. The more money you have,
There are
the easier it is to
non-violent
get out of
there are
things.
non-violent offenses that you're going to go to jail
For
or
way longer
to
than
prison
that
way
one.
longer than like rape, for example, or sexual assault. That just blows me away.
Yep.
I agree there. That would be common ground.
Yeah.
What about the Me Too movement? Do you know anything about that, Cali? I don't know very much. It sounds like bogus to me, but
It sounds bogus to you?
yeah. Like I don't think it
What
needs
do
to
you
be.
mean?
Well, because what is it? Let's do a Google search. I
It's
don't know.
people that are coming forward with their. It started with the whole Harvey. I don't know. If
Harvey
it actually
Weinstein?
started with that, but that's what made it popular.
It was
Is the Harvey Weinstein thing, because there was like so many people that were sexually assaulted by him, or like just I'll give you this
You're
job
right.
if
Harvey Weinstein is when it started.
I don't know that that's when it started, but that's when
Followed
the
soon
popu-
after the sexual abuse
popularity of it.
allegations against.
So it's just people coming forward with their stories, people who survived things like that saying it happened to me too, and that in itself, that movement showed how bad it is, how many people it's happened to, especially in like the entertainment industry.
right.
The amount of people that have been asked to perform sexual favors or just were abused by people in higher power than them and they didn't want to lose their jobs or whatever else. And that happens not just in the entertainment business, but in any place that there's ranked power like that.
Whenever that became popular, I'm not sure when it was, but I remember being on Facebook and seeing a lot of girls that are friends of mine on Facebook put just #MeToo as their posts. And I don't know if that was them showing their solidarity with the movement or if that was them actually saying like, "Hey, me too." I
If they were
don't
doing
know.
it correctly, then
It was like,
it
"Hey,
should have been,
it happened
"Hey,
to
me
me."
too.
And I was shocked. I was like, "Wow." There's quite a few people. I don't know how many it was, but like out of the however many friends I have, it was like 8 or 10 girls that just came
That even
forward. How
posted,
many
right.
how many didn't?
So again, though, I think there's a huge difference between sexual assault and rape. If like everyone is hashtagging Me Too, and like let's say the low end of that is they had their butt smacked or they got a dick pic they didn't want.
But see, yeah,
In
but
everything in a movement that big, there's always gonna be people on that extreme that like somebody looked at them the wrong way, so they're
okay.
hashtag Me Too.
Maybe not the looked at them the wrong way, but I honestly feel like if you're sending somebody a naked picture of yourself that's unsolicited that they don't want, that's still could scar somebody or hurt somebody
I agree
emotionally.
It's sexual assault, but I just think there's a difference between sexual assault and rape culture.
Right, but I think that the Me Too movement is everything.
Okay, but what
I don't
about-
think it's just rape.
Let's
It's
take
about.
a step up from that, like a smack on the butt.
I don't think you should be touched if you don't want to be
Exactly.
touched.
Yeah, but you're saying there's a big difference between that.
There is.
I mean,
but
yes,
it's
there is,
still
but
wrong.
that's still rape culture. You wouldn't do that if that wasn't normalized as something you could do to somebody.
See, but I don't think it's normal though. I don't think that it.
I don't think it's normal.
For you or in general, like you don't think that that's a normalized thing to do? You don't think that that happens
Like,
all the time?
is this happening?
Constantly?
Is this happening more often than we realize?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I don't think I've ever been out somewhere, like at a bar or somewhere, where somebody hasn't touched
Made an
me
advance.
the wrong way or just made me feel uncomfortable in some way, shape, or form. And I don't get uncomfortable quite.
Do you know what's
that
funny?
easily.
You just said that, and that made me think of the time we were on the rooftop at where were we at? Whenever it was me, you, and like 2 other people just have our drinks. Was it? Wait, was that for
His
your
birthday?
That was for your birthday. Whenever those people stopped by our table,
Yeah.
and like one of the guys was like I can't remember what went down. But,
Never been a time that I've gone somewhere
right.
and had
I don't know.
to
That's
feel
weird. She
uncomfortable.
just said that, and that made
Or
me
like,
think. Do
what
you not
about-
remember
I don't
that?
remember being on a rooftop.
Where were we at?
It was
Driftwood.
Driftwood.
It was Driftwood. We were on the rooftop at Driftwood.
Oh.
Remember, and those people came over, and I don't remember the conversation they had with you, but you were upset, and
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but
Yeah.
I just remember you being upset with them. But I mean, like I said, happens more than I realize. I feel like maybe we're not women, so we don't see it, and it doesn't happen to us personally. So, is this happening to like 1 out of every how many girls?
I mean,
Like, is it?
I don't know.
You
I
know.
don't know what the statistics are, but
Yeah.
I mean, I've had very close friends of mine that have been drugged.
Wow.
I mean, you can't even like look the wrong way and not be attacked. You have to be on your guard at all times. Or there's like,
But you do, and I am. I don't know. I just feel like that's the broken world that we live in. I'm on guard when I'm walking to my car. I watch to see if someone's gonna get in behind me or something like that. Do you, Dylan, or do you literally like walk willy nilly wherever any time of day?
I think if I'm in a sketchy spot, I definitely
okay, a
I'm aware of
sketchy
my
spot.
I'm not even
is
talking sketchy. I'm talking about Union or Washington, Missouri.
No.
No.
I don't know. I
Walmart
mean, a
at
little-
midnight.
I do. I've had pepper spray in my keys since I started college.
Okay, so
I'm not really
and did
that
someone
worried about
encourage
it,
you
you
to
know?
get pepper spray?
I think my mom bought it for me, but
Do you personally feel like that is like victim blaming or perpetrating rape culture by advising women to carry mace just in case they're sexually assaulted? Because some people hold that.
I feel like if everybody wanted to walk around with a gun on their hip, I wouldn't care. So like if women want to have mace to feel like they have protection against somebody, then go for it. Like I don't care.
I don't even know that I feel even 100% protected by that.
You know, it might. I was gonna say if it doesn't like blind them, it might just piss somebody off. But I don't know. I think it'd be a good thing to. You should just fight back. So if you got mace, use it. Like I don't know.
Is it rape culture?
I mean, I think if we bring back what we were talking about earlier,
Right.
you would say yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's also necessary. Like
That's what I
because
was saying.
yeah, I mean, I agree, but it's still because we have rape culture. Because the culture in this country is that we have to protect ourselves, otherwise bad stuff's going to happen to us. You're saying the rape culture is not an issue in this country.
I feel like the vast majority of men are not rapists or even sexual assaultists. I think it's a small minority. They might go out and assault. One sexual assaultist might catcall or grab ass multiple women a night, but I think the vast majority of men are not doing stuff like that. I think, and that to say that men don't ever live in fear are that women are
Okay.
always in fear.
Okay, what about the group of friends that there's the one creepy guy that is extra creepy and his friends just like laugh about it and are like, yeah, you go for that.
Are you saying that like you think that in
Like a
groups
group
of
of
men,
guys?
guy friends, they're like, oh, dude, I like kind of, I had sex with a girl who was passed out, and then they like,
Okay, I don't even mean that. No,
but like they
because I don't
cross the
think
line. They're like, dude, I smacked that girl's ass
And
as
they
she
were
was
like,
walking by. And they're like, yeah, bro, that was awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't.
See, me and
See,
Dylan
the,
and our
the
group of
people
friends
that I
we would
hang out
never
with
do
wouldn't do that,
Yeah.
and if they did,
And
I would be like, dude, what the
Exactly.
heck?
You
Like,
guys are not like that. That's why.
but
So
does
I
that
agree with
happen?
you.
Yes.
But does that happen? Yes.
I'm
and
sure
that's
it does.
all of those people are participating in.
I agree, but I still think they're the minority. I think they're the minority of friend groups.
And I also think
Then
that
why
that's
can I never go to anywhere without?
because they are at those areas because alcohol is such a you cannot go out and drink and not be exposed to people who sexually harass because they are using that.
Okay, take
to-
it outside of there then. I worked in a swimsuit at a pool.
Yeah.
Got all kinds of comments there.
I was gonna say I had to deal with so many creeps whenever I was the manager at the pool. It was ridiculous. So
I'm trying to think of
Good point.
other
See, but
locations.
again, that's an
Um,
area where they're
at
going
work-
where women are scantily dressed.
At work, I wear hoodies almost every day. At least once a week when I walk to the mailbox, I have people yelling at me from the highway. At least once a week.
Yeah, okay, like we do live in Franklin County, so like catcalling you from the highway or just
Yeah.
like from the highway.
No, like catcalling me from the highway. Not like
Again, we
shouting
do
my
live
name
in
or
Franklin County.
something. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. That
feel like-
happens all over the place. In New York City, there's guys that jerk off on the subway. Just staring at people on the subway. Like any major metropolitan area.
Dylan, I want to peg your thoughts about what you meant about how it's worse in other parts of the world. Like what?
Yeah.
What do you mean
okay.
there?
Okay. So I think that my initial thought was like rape happens in other countries more often than it does here, and I think that they normalize rape to a degree that we don't.
I would
Like
agree.
like the Middle East, the rights that women
like, there's
have.
countries that marital rape is
Yep.
legal.
Right. And I don't know about Europe, but like the Middle East, maybe Asia and stuff like that. Like I feel like rape is actually kind of seen as like, oh hey man, you're like good for you, and it's not prosecuted. I don't know.
Yeah, I
So
don't
do you
know how
think
much it's good
the
for
world
you.
has rape culture? I mean, like what are we leaning towards here?
I think that we're trending in the right direction though. Do you not think that way? Do you think that it's getting worse, or do you think that we're improving as a country?
I mean, I think people are more willing to speak up now, and that there's more people on both sides of the aisle that are trying to make change in whatever way they can. But there's still so much progress that we need to make.
What do you
Like,
think about like the young men in this country? Do you think it's like this next generation is going to treat women better or worse or the same? If you just had to guess.
Like our generation versus our parents' generation?
Yeah.
I would say that our generation as a whole about everything is a little bit better.
So do you think
Like-
that over time this is something that
I would hope so.
should, right? Isn't it crazy how far humans have come and this still happens? Like this is a crime that's been taking place since the beginning of time, and we've had all these advances, and this is one thing that we can't clean up with our culture.
I mean, it's not
And it's
just
like, why-
one thing. Though.
well-
There's so many things.
Theft, rape, murder. I mean, those are things that why can't
Just
we get
people
past
not
that, you know?
Racism.
Like what I'm
not
trying to say
accepting
is
each
this
other.
always going to be a thing? Is any amount of education, awareness,
I would
precautions,
I mean, we-
punishments
my
going to
worldview,
change it?
I would say no amount of any of that will change. The world has always been in this decrepit state, and it always will be.
Yeah.
That's my
That's
personal
depressing.
opinion.
I mean, there are certain things that have been taking place from the beginning of time, and it's like you would think over 2,000 plus years of human progress you would get past that, but we don't. So it's like, is that just a
I
biological
think humans are the
problem
issue.
that
I don't
humans
think
have? It's
the
like
more humans you add, the better it gets.
you're going to steal things from people, kill people.
Yeah,
and
because
commit
humans are
rape.
doing this to humans. It's not like there's something
But-
we need to eradicate.
Right, but is it going down, is what I'm saying. Is it becoming less common? Like, I wish we had statistics on the amount of...
It's hard
I
to
mean, we kind of do. You could
know.
look at the FBI does this really cool thing. I think it's called the Uniformed Crime Report, and literally like all rapes, all murders, all thefts or whatever are reported and just like in frequency,
Mm-hmm.
and they're compared over time. So you can literally look. We could pull it up. But like everyone has access to this. You could look at how many rapes happened in 2017.
That were reported, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, if someone
Right.
got raped in a dark alley and no one knew about it and she didn't come forth,
So I think
then
those
that one
numbers
wouldn't
could be
be.
very, very skewed.
They would be skewed,
They
but
would
they'd be skewed to
but
scale.
we could still see a
Yes.
change in.
Not if
The numbers.
more people are coming forward now than they used to. Like with the whole movement and all of that.
But if more people are coming forward and the numbers are still going down, then I feel like less are happening. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm just curious to see what it is. And this brings me to another thought. It's like people in the 60s, they used to say, oh, we used to let our kids run around the neighborhood and we left our doors unlocked and it was such a great time. And what they don't realize is that the crime statistics back then for like kidnapping and stuff like that was higher than it is
Yeah,
now.
we just got
The
smarter.
media
And-
coverage is what's different.
And
That
this
is
is
very
kind of
true.
a thought I'm having is how much is the media playing into people feeling insecure about this? You know what I mean?
I think it's
Or
that's what I
people
was
being
saying.
afraid. People being afraid in general of things.
I don't think there's a single media forum that is not politically minded, left or right.
I
And
agree.
that's what I think a lot of this idea of this rape culture is coming from. It's not that it's happening by and large. It is happening.
Well,
I'm not going to deny that. But it's not happening at this ridiculous amount and all this stuff. I think that's being pushed.
I think what you're saying is those really, really severe cases aren't happening as often as you think. But those other things that are still what we were talking about is still part of the Me Too movement, like
Yeah.
those little sexual assault things. I think that still happens.
I think those do
a lot.
happen.
I don't
a
think
lot.
it matters though. Even if it is one person, we should still be outraged about that. And
Well,
they should have.
And I
the
think people
punishment
are.
of-
Rape culture would just say that no, people aren't outraged. I think people are outraged.
I think it's changing, but it hasn't always been like that. Like prior to Me Too, how often did you hear about any of this?
I feel like a lot.
You would hear of rape cases, but I mean, I don't know.
See, because I would say hardly ever, in comparison to now.
Or do you think it's being reported more? Or do you think it's happening
I
more,
think
or
it's
do you think
probably a
I
mixture
don't
of
know.
both.
I don't know what to think.
No, not
Fake
that
news.
it's necessarily happening more. But like you said, the media, I think that the media is going to portray the worst case scenario of everybody. They always pick the most hillbilly person on the street to interview,
Yeah.
the worst cases it's all about ratings. They want people to watch their station or read their news articles, so they're going to pick the most extreme cases to showcase.
And that's what I'm holding to is that the what you see in the media is not the reality of the case that's happening.
That's on both sides, though. I mean, conservative news outlets and more liberal news outlets
Report different
report.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you're paying attention to and where you're
It's-
getting your news. And if you're only getting your news from one spot, then you're doing it wrong.
Is there a good place you can get unbiased news?
I just don't. That's my personal thing. I don't watch. I don't pay attention because I don't think you can.
I don't watch news on the TV anymore for
No.
sure. I look stuff up online, but
Before I say anything about anything, I cross-reference multiple
sources.
sources.
And that's probably what you should
At
do.
least 3, if not more than that. And I don't think that not being educated on what's going on in the world is the answer either, though. I mean, avoiding it isn't going to help anything.
I don't know. Just so much news media is so politically
Charged.
charged that's what you're taking in is 90% someone's political ideas and maybe 10% fact. I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
I can't
to a
think of
certain
I
extent,
can't think
but
of one news source that I would be like you should listen to them
That's why
because
I'm
they're
saying
giving you
you have-
accurate
you have
information
to-
that's unbiased.
You have to read multiple sources. You have to do your homework. You can't just read something that somebody posted on Facebook and be like, "This is true,"
Yeah.
because so many people do that. Even like, if you ever just read something on Facebook and you're like, "Oh, that's bad," and then you click on the comments
And someone goes,
"Someone's like,
"Yeah,
this is not
this
true."
is fake,
That happens
confirmed.
probably most of the time that I click
does.
on something. Like,
And then how do you feel as the person who posted that? Like you didn't check it. You just like, hey, this looks like interesting, so I'll just repost it.
well, and so many people, especially people that are older, I feel like our parents' generation, our grandparents' generation, just believe everything that they see on Facebook, which is funny because they're the ones that told us not to do that, not to believe everything you read on the internet. Or I saw something recently that was like, when we were growing up, we were told not to get in cars with strangers, and now there's Uber. You know, I mean,
Yep.
it's the same thing.
Everything's changing. We're changing as a generation, I feel like, but I think it's for the better. I don't know. I feel like we're going the right direction with this whole thing.
Oh, the more something's talked about, the more you're gonna work out the kinks. I would hope, at least.
I think that one positive thing out of this Me Too movement is I think that there's a lot of guys out there that maybe didn't know what was right. Like, no one taught them, and they're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't smack a girl in the butt. Or, like, this is going to get... Or, hey, maybe it scared them away. And maybe they're not going to do it now because they're afraid of the repercussions. So, thing I was
That's a
wondering
horrible
about...
thing to do somebody.
One thing I was wondering about is
Do
the...
somebody.
What's the punishment for that?
There isn't one, I don't think. I mean, I don't know if there. I'm sure you can sue. I'm sure the other guy can. I'm sure the person who was accused can sue for, like, what do they call that?
Punitive or...
Defamation
yeah.
of character.
Yes.
And stuff like that. But at that point, that guy's life is trashed, and that's.
See, that's what it,
Okay, I brought this up earlier.
your life is trashed if you're accused, regardless of the charge. Is that what you're gonna say?
I understand that those false accusations are a very, very small percentage, like you said, 2% or less. But for those 2% or less of people that are charging somebody or accusing somebody of rape, I think that their punishment should be really close to what that person would have
Yes.
received if they would have been accused.
I agree.
Yeah. Because if you're willing to, like, lie and put somebody in prison for the rest of their life, and you're lying about, if you're lying about that, you should maybe go to jail for a pretty long time.
I agree,
doing that.
because it ruins their reputation, regardless of if they're proven innocent or not.
Yeah.
It still destroys them as a person.
So, what do you think would be an okay punishment? Jail time?
Equal
or-
punishment is what you get for raping somebody.
Okay. But you're not committing a physical act, though.
That's true.
You're just... Well, but you know
Still,
what? I mean,
eye
you're
for
kind
eye.
of killing someone's... I mean, you're kind of taking somebody's life in a way if you're
It's
sending them
not-
to jail.
You're right.
Uh,
It's not like probably
yeah.
legally you would run into issues like that, but I mean we already have issues, so it could be
Right.
literally 3 months, just like the other guy got, you know. And at least a fine or something like that, like a big
A big fine.
money fine.
Yeah. And
Even
a
if you
little bit of
can't-
jail time at least.
Yeah, at least.
But-
At least.
I'm curious to see if there is, like, a punishment for that or how... I don't know how they go about that.
I really don't think that there is one. I think that you could countersue probably, but
That blows me away.
and that's
Wouldn't
not
it
right
be
either.
perjury? If you
Perjury?
Like, if you lied in a courtroom and you said that someone did something and it was a blatant lie? Or
Yeah.
would you have... I guess technically you would have to be... Well, if they called you up as a
If you're
witness...
under oath.
If they called you up... Yeah, and you were under oath,
Mhm.
what's the punishment for perjury?
I don't know what it is. But
Isn't
I'm
it
sure
prison
that
time?
There is one.
Pretty sure it's
But a
prison
lot
time.
of people will go through the whole process of, like, spreading it everywhere and then never actually get the case, and they'll renege before they get the case.
Mm.
So at that point, there's nothing to... You can't do anything besides sue for defamation of character or whatever that is.
Nick, thoughts?
Yeah, you're the one that brought it up.
Yeah, man. What do you think?
What are your thoughts on people that lie?
What do you think should happen to the people who falsely accuse?
Probably what you guys said. A decent amount of time and a hefty monetary fine.
But it shouldn't be equal to what the person would have received if they would have been convicted of rape.
Equal to?
Yeah, I don't think it should be equal to. But I
No.
mean, no. Because you're not rape. You're not committing a physical act.
Yeah,
I think it's
said
a
that, but I
slightly
take that
less
back.
of a
You're right.
moral break to lie like that than to rape someone.
Hmm.
I think it's easily to morally convince yourself to lie than to...
Right. Do that to somebody.
I would think.
People do crazy things for crazy reasons too. Like, I don't know. I've heard plenty of stories about girls being crazy because they got their heart broken. So
Or like the whole like it was consensual and then they regretted it and like freaked out.
That is not rape.
Yeah.
If something consensual is happening and you say stop, I don't want to do this anymore, and they don't stop, then that's rape. But other than that, not rape. It does not count.
But how often do you think that happens? A
Probably
rape,
pretty often, especially
that a
when
rape
people-
charge gets brought up because a girl regrets it and calls it rape?
I don't know, but I can see that happening, especially when there's drugs or alcohol involved. You regret something the next day.
What if both people were non-consenting? Because I feel like there have been
But,
scenarios.
both people were so
Both people were
inebriated.
inebriated. Yep, both people were on drugs, or both people were drunk and they have sex. Is anyone to blame? Or what if a woman says, I was raped, but the guy just goes, I have no idea what happened?
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you do in that scenario?
I don't know.
Or what if he goes, I was raped? Like,
I mean, if neither person remembers the event,
Yep.
I don't think you can, I don't think you have any ground to stand on there.
I'm sure that happens.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
sure
sure-
there's been
I'm sure
cases
that's
where both parties have been under the influence of some drugs or alcohol.
I'm sure that happens all the time. That probably happens more often than not.
Did you hear about it was a guy in college, and he hooked up with this girl, and then I think they were both drunk, and then he called campus security on her because he was afraid she was going to call it on him.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, we're going to like a weird place. Like, I don't know. That's crazy that he even thought to do that.
That brings you back to your point where people need to watch out for their friends, and like if you know somebody's too drunk to make a decision like that, you need to be like, not today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, educating the youth about rape. Like, protect your friends, try to prevent it.
I still wouldn't call that rape though. Too super drunk.
You're just saying your friend wants to go home with a guy and she's had a little too much to drink, and you go, hey, you don't want to make this decision.
I would
Is that what scenario you're talking
probably
about?
physically pull them away.
Yeah,
but
you'd be
that's
like,
just
no, no,
my-
no, no,
that's
no.
just me. No other opinions, Nick?
Nah, I think I'm tapped out.
Are we good on this? Okay.
I don't know. Do we need a recap? What's the recap?
I don't know.
I feel like neither of our minds were changed. I would still feel
Yeah, but did you expect anything less?
I feel like my view completely, like, I don't know.
flopped.
I mean, it didn't flop, but
When
I
Nick and
feel like
have a
you brought a lot of things to light that I didn't realize maybe happen as often as they did. And I think a lot of guys don't realize how often things happen, and you kind of changed my perspective
you
on
two
it.
are both actual decent human beings, so it's probably hard to
See, yeah.
when people are doing crappy things.
Like, the group of friends that I've always been in, I've never had a friend do something like that or, like, cross a line that I can remember. So, I don't know.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Alright.
anytime Nick and I have a conversation, neither of our minds are ever changed. It's just a conversation that we have, and that's pretty much it.
No, I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't say that?
I don't know. There's got to be something
there
that
any-
we're
There's
able
got to
to
be something
sway
that
each other
happened in
on.
this last
Anything?
hour that you changed your opinion on slightly, or maybe or thinking in a different way. For both of you, I mean, I don't know. Did we find some common ground? Or you guys both?
I feel like we already had the common ground, which was rape is terrible. I
Yeah, we
would
can all
still
agree
say that, by and large, the vast majority of Americans are not normalizing or trivializing rape. And I think that it does happen, or that it is the case in Middle Eastern cultures.
I think that it's the case in both places. The extremity of it doesn't make it any less relevant in the United States.
Thank you for watching.
I mean, this podcast isn't about necessarily changing people's minds. The viewers can listen, and
We gave multiple
I
perspectives.
feel like there was 3, honestly.
I think that quite a few people are maybe going to have an opinion on either your view or your view. And if you'd like to email us and let us know what you thought, you can contact us at
Please roast me.
open.discourse@gmail.com.
OD.
OD.
And try again.
That's what I meant.
The original gangsters.
That's what I meant. We're OGs. OD.
Open
Discourse? Is it? Oh, I get it. No,
Open.discourse. OD. At gmail.com. It's a dumb email.
I get it.
No, I would love to hear people's responses on is telling women or anyone to act safe or to do things to defer the chance of rape happening. Is that, I don't know, victim blaming or promoting rape culture, or what are people's thoughts on that? I'd like to know.
I think if you're saying it to where that should be the only thing that should happen and that nothing else should change, people would be like, I disagree. But if they were like, yes, we need to educate our young men and we need to teach them how to respect women and what to do, and also teach women maybe how to prevent it and not put themselves in a bad situation, I think Well, I agree with that. I think that's what we should do.
Because I mean, I think statistically,
I'm not
if
saying
you
that you shouldn't do it. I'm saying that we shouldn't have to do it. Does it? No. Yes. Does that make sense at all?
you shouldn't have to tell a 40-year-old woman maybe, but you have to, I mean, you have to instruct children. Children who are naive and don't think that people are out there to harm them, you have to tell them. Like a young girl, a 13-year-old girl who maybe might see a movie where there's a scene and a guy buys a girl a drink and that's okay, and then they have a healthy relationship and like it was just a flirt move, not a rape move, and that's her perception of reality. If you don't ever have the conversation of, daughter, there's, some men might be trying to court you respectfully, and some men are trying to drug you and rape you. Like you have to tell females that, and you have to tell men that.
He's not saying.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And I think if you tell,
eventually we shouldn't even have it. Shouldn't be a thing. We shouldn't. It shouldn't have to be a thing. It is a thing because of the culture that we live in. And yet, if I had a daughter, would I tell her to, watch if someone's buying you a drink, you Hawkeye watch them with it, or you go up to the bar with them? Yes, I would. I would tell my kid that, but I shouldn't have to tell my kid that because people should not be raping my kid. That's my
True.
point. That's all I meant by that.
I mean, I guess I agree that no, people shouldn't be raping your kid, but it is so just not the reality. There's rapists out there.
Yeah, because we live in a culture of rape.
Or do we live in a place where certain people don't raise their kids to know what's right and wrong?
Also true.
So what's happening?
I don't think that
people.
rapists don't know that what they're doing is wrong. Because
Okay,
like the guy who ran away, he knew immediately that it was wrong.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if.
Unless you're a psychopath.
Okay, so we have a culture who raises kids to think that the consequences of their actions aren't going to happen. Like, I don't know. There's a problem somewhere.
I don't think
Like,
it's
why
that
did he-
rapists
It's
think it's
humanity.
okay. It's just moral
still-
decay. It's not that they think it's okay; they know it's wrong. But in my worldview is that humans always choose self over others.
I wouldn't say all of them do. I mean,
But
what
do you
about,
think
like,
that can be
serial
taught, or do
killers?
you think that's biological? Do you think that's something people are born with, or do you
I think
that can be changed?
I think human nature
Both.
is to choose self. I think you can teach to choose others. If that makes sense.
Okay. So if you think that, though, then this is never going to change.
No, I don't. And I said that. I think 3,000 years from now, if humanity still exists, there will be
There's
rapists,
no way we're existing.
murderers, thieves.
We'd be lucky to make it 30.
If humanity still exists by the time.
Do you think the other way, Dylan? Do you if you would imagine a 3,000 year from now future, do you think like crime would be like at an all-time zero and like certain crimes like rape and murder wouldn't happen?
I think that there's a possibility that technology could lead to a point where crime is minimized to a point where it's almost non-existent. I think that's a possibility.
Too much Black Mirror.
I'm just saying. I mean,
I was gonna say, yeah, people use technology to commit crimes, like hacking your credit card, and technology's almost easier. People set up cameras in bathrooms.
what I'm
and
saying,
spy
what I'm
on
saying
women.
is like, 60 years ago, there were no security cameras or microphones everywhere, and now people can see what's going on. So I think that
So
people
it
are.
works both ways.
I think that people are less likely to commit crimes as time goes on, and I think we're going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to commit any crime without someone knowing what you're doing.
I wish that were true, but I'm with Nick. I think that people are always going to find new ways to do
The
crappy things.
higher people, like that might be true of the low, but the people who have control of whatever that technology is can mute a microphone when they are going to do something, or loop over video footage when they're going to do something. It happens today, I think.
So they're going to be people who could find a way around
Yeah.
certain
well, like
things
you
in
said,
the future.
there's cameras in bathrooms, like all kinds of. sick-
People use
Yes.
technology for
Oh, okay.
bad, and
Okay.
people
Right.
get around technology to
So
do bad.
I get what you're saying. So
People
like in
have-
the future, people could use technology to manipulate people or to,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, gas stations and banks already have cameras, and people are still robbing them.
I keep
That's true.
a sticky
That's
note
really true.
over the webcam on my computer because
The Big Brother.
so that
That'd be an
people
interesting
don't.
podcast.
I can see us right now.
Well, yeah, but I'm aware of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. The necessity, maybe.
Or
for
maybe it
spying
is
on
just
me.
a human thing, and it's never going to change.
I think it is. I think humans are terrible.
Yeah.
Dum dum dum.
Anything else?
Send us emails.
Yes, let us know what you think.
Watch our videos.
Suggestions for future episodes. If you would like to be a guest, you can contact us. Let us know.
Give them an idea, something you're passionate about.
Yeah. Callie kind of picked her topic, so if you want to be on and you want to talk about something, just let us know. The way your question's worded, though, I would say yes. I feel like...
Well, I mean, we can talk about it. We could be like...
I didn't vote on it.
I made a shitty-ass poll question. I'm trying to pull it up.
I gotta quit hitting it.
Because it's, do you think America has a problem with rape culture?
I was trying to ask, do you think America has a rape culture?
I know. Yeah.
But I guess
I'm
it
sure
it
people
sounds
interpreted
like
it
I'm
that way.
asking, like, what are people's thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah.
With
With...
we just-
I don't know.